Welcome to the Strong Enough Podcast, your relationship wellness podcast. I'm your host, Claudia. Today's guest is going to share with you how growing up with medical difficulties and a narcissistic mother led her into an abusive relationship of her own. She was finally able to get out and is now stronger, happier, and healthier. Please help me in welcoming Joy Johnston. Joy, thank you so much for joining me here today. How are you doing?
I am so well, Claudia. I am very well, and I'm grateful to be on your show. How are you doing?
I am well also. I'm grateful to have you. And, you know, we've been chatting for a couple minutes and have already had some laughs and smiles. I know we're going to talk about some heavy things today, but I'm just so excited for you to be here and to share some of your stories. So thank you for that. So why don't we jump right in then? First off, for people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about Joy.
I live in South Africa. I've had to go through quite a bit in my life to make me the person I am now, especially and giving me that heart to help others because I know what they've been through. At the moment, I'm actually writing. I'm part of a book launch with 12 other authors. So I'm doing that. I'm very excited about it. And I am setting up, I'm starting a coaching business. I'm in the process. I'm open to clients. If any of you want to speak to me, I'm here for you. And then speaking to share my story and to know that people aren't alone. Like that is just so on my heart.
I love that. And it sounds like you're busy. You have a lot going on. Before we end here today, we will make sure that everybody knows where to find you, where to find your coaching, where to find your book once that comes out. But you mentioned that you want to help people because you know what they've been through. So will you talk a little bit about what you've been through?
I have two areas in my life. The first one was a brain tumor I had when I was a child. And from that brain tumor, I actually, during the surgery, the doctor damaged a nerve and paralyzed my right side. And I actually thought I was meant to die. And no, I did, but everyone did afterwards. And they just accepted that I would have died. And when, everyone was so grateful when I had lived. And so that was like the beginning. But I think it did build up. I was different. And inside me, I was not, the emotions, I hadn't handled like very well. And I was teased a lot as well at school. And my mom, my mom's actually a narcissist. And I needed her during that time because she was so forceful with the doctors. She would tell them straight, no, that is not wrong with her. And she did. She took me to, I think, about 4 or 5 doctors until they found the right one. But then there were things later on that didn't, so I didn't think much on myself. I had a low self-esteem. I didn't know why I had to go through this. And I'll tell you also a part of it was I'm one of 6 siblings. And they're all musical, and I used to watch them playing music. And I just had this desire that I wanted to play the piano, and my mom enrolled me for piano lessons, and I just practiced. And I say that is an example to me now, because that burning desire, even though I couldn't open my fingers, I just worked at it and worked at it and worked at it until I could play. So I lost myself into that, and even nature. But then the way I would handle like my family, I felt like I was a nobody inside this family that was so big. And I just lost myself in reading and playing piano and nature. Like even now, you say like, we don't know why, what things mean to people. I can tell you those. I know from my childhood. I'll tell you something. I love waterfalls. And that was, I think I was about 12. I went to this camp and I saw this waterfall, and I just, I looked at it and I said, I want to be that. I want to be like that. I want to flow. That's why I love flow. I just want to flow, and I just like the way it just is. So there was that. That was the one part of my life. And then, with that low self-esteem, it actually, and not knowing that my mom was a narcissist, I never knew that. And then that's all you seem to know and attract. And I ended up, I'll tell you, this man, he was charming, and I didn't think much of myself. And I would say no to many guys who wanted to go on a date with me. And this one persisted and persisted. And then I eventually said yes. And he swept me off my feet. He was romantic. The gifts he would bring, the poetry, it was like, wow, wow, I've never been shown such love. And it was like, and the thing was, and I look back as well, because I had this gut feeling the one time, and it was like, no, this is not the right person. And I never listened to my gut. And like, if I look back now, I can see that, but I had to learn that, and now it means more to me when I get that gut feeling, because I know now I need to listen to it. And so I ended up marrying him, and things just turned around, and it, like, everything just, that charming person, he wasn't charming anymore. And then it went to, that's it, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. And the thing was, because I didn't have a good relationship, I wasn't a good communicator, I just bottled it up inside me. And I never spoke to anyone. And you just accept that this is life, and the thing is, here you are, I grew up in this religious family, and like, if you married to them, that's it, you married no matter what. And you're like, okay, well, is this it? I thought already far better than this. And it came to a point where I went through a lot, though, because I was in it for about 16 years. And, you think it's fine. And my domestic worker, I started opening up to her, and I say she helped me with communication because she was always there. She knew how I was. And I started telling her, and she was like, your relationship is not fine. It's weird. Like, the things he does. I mean, like, even when we had sex, it's just like he would force me when he wanted it. And when he didn't want it, would go for, I'd say years, actually. It would go through forcing me or not wanting it, to like not holding me, not. So it was like, you questioning this, you don't know who to talk to, because it's so intimate. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think many women don't speak about it, because it's like a strange thing to tell people, mm-hmm. About the relationship, what's going on. And but I had tried to divorce him in 2019, and he said he'd prove me mad. And he actually, he threatened me. I had my mom, she was going on at me and on at me and on at me. And like that, I'm not her daughter if that narcissistic streak or definitely was there. And she was saying, I'm not her daughter if I go through with it. And she'd phone me up every half an hour. And she'd say, did you withdraw the papers? Did you withdraw the papers? And I'd say no. And then he said he would prove me mad and put me in this hospital. And it was too much for me. And I actually withdrew the papers. And they did put me in a men's hospital. And they said I'm mad because I filed divorce. And when the psychologist and the psychiatrist, I stayed there for 3 weeks. And when, like, during that period, they said to me, all I had was depression and anxiety. And they said, I can't carry on like that. But I went out from the hospital, and they had packed up my house, and they told me we're moving. And I had no choice. And I ended up moving. And it was at that time, it was, trying to figure him out. Like, who is he? Like, is he gay? Like, because he's so weird sexually. Is he? And it's just all these, it's so much for you, and this world you don't understand it. But that's it. I was so low even after that, even when we moved. It's like, here I was wanting to get out of it, and I didn't. I didn't get out like I wanted. But I feel like I did have to. I did have to go to this place where I knew nobody. It's like I did have to. And when I had moved, I met this, I'll tell you what my daughter said. Because I was so low, I'd take the children to school and put an alarm clock on. And when I came home, so I'd sleep while they were at school. And when the alarm clock went off, I would go and pick them up. And she said, my daughter said, Mom, if you, and I never said anything to her, and she said, if you commit suicide, I will commit suicide. And she was 10. But like my children have been through a lot. Like even when she was 5, she started noticing that. And I just thought, what? I would never, ever, ever think my child would ever say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, no, my life has to change. It has. I can't carry on like this. And it's amazing how it worked, because I ended up in this coffee shop and I was crying. And it's like this lady had been in a narcissistic relationship herself. And she said, I know the right counselor, go to him. And like that was the start of my healing journey. And just working on yourself, finding yourself. I didn't know who I was. I was quite emotionless. He said I was full of masculine energy. And it's strange, you would never think that, but I was. Maybe yes, because I never used my heart. I actually didn't even know who I was. I didn't follow my heart. And it was finding that, and then coming to that point where I can do it again. I did it again. And now, it's like I had to. So now, because of all what I've gone through and the process and the lessons, and that's what's given me a heart for especially women who've been in a relationship, a narcissistic relationship.
Wow. We have a lot to unpack right now. So first, congratulations for getting to a place that you needed to be and for turning things around, because that is huge, especially considering everything that you went through and the pressure from your mom. Let's talk about her for a second. So what is your relationship like with her right now after everything?
I don't have one with her. Yeah, she'll phone me. I don't share anything with her. I'm very abrupt. Like what must I say to her? She still wants that control. She's still, like even when she calls, you think, okay, what is she calling about? What motives are they? And I don't, even in my book, I just name their mom and dad. Because I don't have a relationship with them. And during that time in 2019, just before that, I'd actually met another couple. It's funny, I met this lady at Pilates, and she actually is more like my mom, and that's why I can open my heart. So she is my adopted mom.
That is amazing. I love it when life, God, whatever you believe in, brings us the people that we truly need in our lives.
You're so right. And I can see that because I think I met her a year before. And we started this friendship as though it was preparing us even for that moment where my whole family would be against me. And I had, she's one of them, and there were 2 other friends. And the one of them was my domestic worker, but I don't call her that. She's my best friend now. But those were the ones who stood by me. And like even to this day, we're so close.
I love that. So I want to talk a little bit about your childhood and going through the surgery and having a brain tumor. I know you said it made you feel very different. Growing up, you experienced so many different things. Do you think that affected you when it came to looking for a relationship?
Oh, definitely. It definitely did, because I hadn't accepted who I was. Another thing my mom always said was, she said, never believe in yourself. She said, so I didn't. So all of that has an implication, even from that brain tumor. So I didn't believe in myself. And And because the thing was, from that surgery, my right side is different to my left. And it was thinner, and I had to have foot surgery on it because I was walking on the side of it. So I've always walked with a limp, and I just felt different. And, even though you may not see it, but inside me, I felt different. Like even I'm blind in my right eye, and all those things just add up. and I think I'm like, who am I? Like, what guy would love me? The way I walk, the way you just think such a little bit of yourself. And that's also why I kept saying no to guys. And also that did not help me with communication, because even at times when I would ask my mom why it had to happen, I couldn't speak to her. I've never had a heartfelt chat with her like that. And even at times, there was one time I wrote a suicide note. I think I was about 13, and I put it in my drawer, and my sister told my mom. And I went outside, because the thing is, I used to always, at that time, I don't know if I was playing piano, but I go that's why I love nature now. I love nature. But I went outside, and I think because I'd feel better when I was outside. And when I came back in, and she's like, what is this note? And she gave me such a hiding. That's what she did. That was the way it was dealt with, was, whatever you're saying, not work through it, and just get a hiding. So that's why definitely, I don't think I had, and the thing, like, I only knew that control of my mom, and they also wanted me with another guy. And eventually when I said yes to the one that I married, in a way it was out of rebellion within me, inside me, and against them. And I say ironically, he was a narcissist.
What do you think that your mom, your parents, taught you about love?
My mom, I don't think they're a very good example. Because of their narcissistic, and I always say I don't want to bring Greek families down, but she's Greek, and the way she grew up, I can see patterns, as well as her family. Like, her dad was never there, because he was also in World War. Like, he also had his story, because he was in World War. They had my parents, then he ended up going to Africa. That's why they ended up in Africa. So they first went to Zambia. And then my mom was in Zambia when she met my dad. But she came from this family. And that is what I'm realizing right now. It's like their situations made them into the people they are. But my mom, I was angry with my dad because I said he was never a dad. Because everything was like, what's mom saying? If you want a friend over, ask mom. If it's a discipline, mom's the one who disciplines. I don't know my dad. He never opened up. He never spoke. And even now, I wonder about their love, because it's like they were just together.
Well, it sounds like your dad was also controlled by your mom.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What did that teach you about masculinity from men? Because, you talked about how you were demonstrating a lot of masculine energy, and we actually just talked about that in an episode last week. So I didn't plan this, but this is a great continuation of that. So what do you think that taught you about the male figure in a home?
I would say my dad was not the male figure. Like, I'd say my mom had the masculine energy. My dad didn't. My dad, it's like he was lost. You didn't even know if he was there or not. He was in that house, but you didn't know. And I even with him, that's why I look back and I say, I can see his life and how he was stuck in this, but he didn't know any better. But definitely, my mom was a masculine, and that's why I call it the matriarchal family, because she's the one who ruled us in every way. The only thing my dad really did was bring in the finances. What I'm learning now about finances, because she stayed home to be that mom at home. He did the work. But there were a lot of beliefs that came over, and it was like he was just the breadwinner, and that's all he had to do was be that.
That
Sadly.
is, yeah, well, that's so interesting too, because it sounds like in your marriage, your husband, he was the narcissist, he was the dominant one. So how did that feel, that kind of shift in your own relationship?
I think later on, I was sad, and I think that's what depressed me, because what I wanted to go away from, that is what I created. And I'm still trying to figure that as well, because if he was the controlling one, that masculine energy, why did I have masculine energy but you know what, if I look at the sex, that was weird, because I didn't mention it, but he wore my clothes. So, like, even that is a form of feminine energy. So, yeah, that's why I also thought he was gay, because I think, why is he wearing my clothes? Why does he, if he'd buy me something, I think, okay, is that for him to wear?
Yeah, you're like, is that for me, or is that really for him? Wow. That's a whole other episode, Joy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's all take a second to just take that in. Interesting. Okay. But it sounds like, back to just the masculine energy and the kind of domination of the family, even though that was your mom that had that and not your dad, you transitioned into another relationship where it was somebody else and not you, I think.
Definitely. I can see that as well. And, I think as well, I looked so much up to her. And that's in a way why I've also attracted one, because like my focus went from her. And even I'd say when we first got married, she still had control. I spent so much time at her house. And that's why I look back and I thought to myself, wow, I always thought those years were happy. But if I look back, I spent so much time at her house. She still cooked dinner. Like, even when we had our first daughter, and he was always working. And, I never saw the problems even then, even with that. But it was her, she still had that control, but then at home, then it was him. So that's all I knew, was just that control.
Well, and it wasn't you, as the end result, it was always somebody else and not you, but you have now broken that cycle. So how does that feel?
Oh, that feels amazing. And you know what else I wanted to add was, I didn't believe in myself. So what I realized now was I was seeking that external validation. And that's why it went from her to him, because I was looking for, them to give me love.
When did you realize, let's start with your mom first. When did you realize that your mom was a narcissist?
It all made sense, especially 2018. When I was, trying to figure him out. And, it's so crazy, because I'd already been married for so long and I never even knew what a narcissist was. I never knew. And it's fun, because that lady who's like my adopted mom, she said to me, he's a narcissist. And I said, what? A narcissist? I'm like, what is that? And I never heard of that. And from that, it was like, oh, wow. And my eyes started opening up, because I didn't even know that word. I didn't know it. This is life. And the thing is, I've been journaling. I actually am planning to write 3 books. I started with the first one of my own, and the series, my tumor and my childhood, secondly, my marriage, and thirdly, like this life and helping women. So those are my series. And I actually have journaled. It's so funny, because I think I bought journals in 2014 and I never journaled, and I bought them. But it's so funny, because it's as though it was preparing me, because I just buy journals and I never journal. And eventually when I started journaling, like everything went in there, like my everything. So even when I was talking to no one, my journal said everything. So I don't have those now. They're in storage. But when I do that second book, it will be interesting to actually go back. I know I need them for that, but to go back and say, wow, just even see the patterns even in that.
I know you said that you didn't trust your gut with him.
Yeah.
So even though you didn't know what a narcissist was, you didn't understand that, there was still something inside you that said, like, this doesn't feel right. Will you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that happens with a lot of people is they don't know a name or they think it's normal, but something doesn't feel quite right, but they push that aside.
Yes, that is something to really, especially when you're starting to look inward and to, not seek it from the outside and trust your instinct, trust your gut, whatever that feeling is, it never lies to you. And because of that, I've been so working on that. I've actually lately, doing this meditation, the chakra, I'm blocking my chakras because I think to myself, oh yes, like there's another side as well, because I was diagnosed with a thyroid problem. I know it has nothing to do with your question, but
it's okay.
I was diagnosed with thyroid this year. And that is my throat chakra. And so because of my childhood, like that even is another stuff. And that is where it started, from my childhood, not speaking in the marriage. And so I just want to block them all so that, and also with that comes in the gut feeling. One of the chakras, you deal with your gut feeling. And, it even took me back to that time, not using it. And I also told my daughter, I told her that situation. And, and I said to her, I never trusted my gut. And she said to me, Mom, I know you didn't think a lot of yourself, and maybe that's why you didn't. But at least I can tell her even those lessons that I have learned, and now, if there's one thing, you don't need to ask anyone what they think. And that's what I did. Always asking what everyone thinks I must do. But it doesn't do that. Listen to yourself. Listen to your gut. What are you saying? And now I put myself in a room with nothing, and I just ask myself. And you know what else I never knew? And it's like your gut, that inner voice. I never listened to that inner voice. Only lately, I'm really focusing on it, because that is the voice I want to hear.
But you can definitely look back and see so many times, I guess, with him that you had that inner voice telling you something and you just pushed it aside.
I did. And I ended up, and I'm trying to figure that out even now, because I ended up not listening to that a lot, so much, that I wonder if I stopped, that inner voice stopped.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm very sure. And only now, and I'm not really, and I think because I put it aside so much, like now it's really bringing it to life and focusing on it.
What made you decide finally that you had to get away from that relationship?
Well, you see, when we had moved as well, and I had been to that counselor, so that was about 2019. So it's all still very new, this new, like, leaving. And so when I just started working on myself, so 2019 it was the end of 2019. 2020, I find coaches, and I say, like, every person has helped me with a different level. It's something else that I didn't even know. And I think that was what I even had to learn, even in it, was, even though I'm in it, I was speaking about my name, because I hated my name. I absolutely hated my name, like from childhood. And then in the marriage, it was like, okay, I have this name. I'm meant to be so happy, but inwardly I'm like dying. and And then I actually did. I did a video, and I'm posting it tomorrow on Facebook because I speak about my name, exactly what I'm telling you. Because I say there, I had to learn, even though it's in it, that joy came from within, and I had to, no matter what and I had to learn that, no matter what that, and I had to build myself up inside me for that strength to actually do it.
How hard has that been to love yourself when you spent so long being pushed down?
It's been a journey because I'll tell you, I even made a friend when I'd moved. And so one day I'd just been to the counselor, and she knew the counselor actually, and I was telling her about it. And she said, Joy, you need to believe in yourself. And I was like, what? I never heard of that in my life before. Yeah, I told my mom, yeah, you can't believe in yourself. The only person you can believe in is God. Oh yes, but I also read a quote somewhere, like, your belief in yourself is how you believe in God, if that makes sense. Like you have to find that inward, like, believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I was like, it really left me thinking, because I was like, wow. And in a way that the puzzle pieces even fit together with that, because of how little I thought about myself. And I had to love myself. And even to this day, there's so much, because, and even another topic, my money beliefs as well, I'll tell you, those have been affected by my self-love, like what I think of myself. And like, even that is what I've been working through right now, because it goes from different levels. Yeah, I know one thing, and it's like, oh, wow, okay. But it's part of the process, the person you become.
Absolutely. And you're so joyous now, which is so cool, because even in going through these tough things, like, you can tell how happy you are today. And that had to be such a long journey that you went through and continue to go through. Are you still on that journey?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's why I say it's different. You after one area, you always, are you always working on yourself? It just goes to different levels. Like, even now, I'm just trying to think, oh yes, like if you look at, I've been doing that voice and that meditation with the chakras, and there's so much I'm even learning about myself, even to this day. So that sounds going to be a it's never ending. It's so beautiful.
How old is your daughter now?
She is 12. I actually have I have 4 children, actually.
Okay.
And like, even that was because, to tell you the truth, he wanted me pregnant to keep me trapped, so that I could just focus on raising children and not the problem. Because even in that 2019, when I tried to file divorce that first time, he wanted a child. And I was like, what? You want a child? And already then my eyes were open, and I was like, you just stay far away from me.
I want people to understand too that is a form of domestic abuse. When the man forces pregnancy, wants the woman, wife, whatever, to be pregnant, to have kids, that is also a form of domestic abuse, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it feel to you to be in a place now where you can teach your kids differently than what you went through, than what your dad went through, and kind of break that cycle finally for your family?
I am so happy because, like I said earlier, I can see patterns repeating, and that's what I've come to realize in generations. And this one lady said to me, out of the blue, I messaged on Facebook, she said, Joy, you need to break the generational cycles. And I didn't understand at that time. But now I look back and I see it. I can see why. And I know they knew no better, even my children, and what situation would they go through. Now they can learn from it. I can talk openly about it. It's been a journey because they've seen, also for them, because they've seen me when I was down there, when I was sleeping all day, to the person I am now, like finding myself, knowing who I am, like inner happiness, now just wanting to serve. And they see it.
Do you see a difference in them already, just in the change in you?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And even if I look, I never meditated. Like they know, they've seen all those changes. And, you know, the example I'm setting now on this, and there's no way I would want them to. And I know to even attract someone like that, but I think they're more aware of it now because they can see. And when you're in it, you're so blinded, you don't know. You don't know. You think this is normal. This is love. This is a relationship.
So now you're teaching them what actually is love and what actually is a relationship.
Yes.
How does that feel?
And it feels wonderful. But the thing was as well, even when I was with him, the life we had was so different. We weren't a married couple. We didn't touch, especially after that point I moved. It's like we had two different lives. My daughter used to say that we were housemates because we lived under the same roof. He still like brought in the money. But we had two different lives, even though we were already. And I think it also made it easier for them because we didn't have that intimacy. I mean, but a very bad example. And, you know, I say one day, my desire is to be in another relationship and, you know, and for them to see that love.
I think that is the best thing of all, is that you've been able to show them, first off, what it feels like to love yourself and to put yourself first. And that's going to carry through when they begin dating and when they begin finding their significant others, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I really see that because, and I can tell you, I was blinded then, like growing up, I never saw it. So that person I am now, they can see how it is, the difference, and to believe in myself. And so just for them to believe in themselves. And also they saw when I seek people's approval to when I didn't. And that is what I want for them. I want them to look inwards. I want them, and that's what I'm not going to go tell them what they must do in their life. It's their life. You know, maybe I can guide them, but I'm not going to say, oh, you must go study this, you must do this. And they need to find who they are. And everyone's so different.
You mentioned earlier about religion in your family and growing up and how, you know, divorce was not really an option in your family. So what part does religion play in your life now, if any?
I'm still religious, but I'm not like I was. And it's, you know, that authoritarian came even in the church, actually, because that whole thing, it was even there because when I was growing up, it was preached that money was evil. Like this pastor used to get so angry. That's why I had to go so deep, even financially. You don't know what these things effects they have on you, and how rich people were evil. And, you know, and then here was that, and here was my mom carrying on even that at home. And the thing was, even though I'm still religious, I'm not like that. I'm like in my own way because I'm not just religious. I'm spiritual. I'm spiritual on a different level.
That's what I often say, excuse me, about myself, is I'm more spiritual than religious because I think they are two different things. So we're definitely soul sisters when it comes to that, for sure. Wow. I want to ask you quickly, you talked about in 2019 when you filed for divorce, and he said for the American people that he was going to prove that you were crazy, mad, as you put it, which I love. But what I want to ask you is, you continued to fight, even though he did that, even though he pushed to exert that level of control to continue to control you. That would have been, I feel like, when a lot of people would have given up and they would have said, I guess this is just what I'm stuck with. So what pushed you to continue to fight after that?
Well, you always believe it. And I always say everyone comes into my life at the right time when you need that person, so someone comes. And I don't know, but I think it was a friend or someone said to me who knew my situation, or it could have been one of the 3 friends of mine. They said, it could have been the one. She said to me, Joy, you fought during that brain tumor. You were so young then and you lived. Like, how can you let this kill you? That really hit me. I just said, oh, wow. And I didn't see that myself, and when she pointed it out, I realized, and it's like, okay, I think it gave me more strength as though it made me stronger.
That's fantastic that you had that person in your life. How difficult was it to start building those people that became your support system? How difficult was it to trust?
It wasn't difficult at all, because the thing was, like, even now, I have nothing to do with my family. It's just so sad. But that's life. And I don't know other families, and I don't know if all of them talk to each other or not. But I don't have anything to do with them. And even some of them are still very religious. Even my one brother, he said to me that first time in 2019, and that was also in a way good about moving away, because I was even cutting the ties more with them. They had less control over me, because even with them, my one brother, he told me that I was having an affair. He said, you're having an affair. I'm going to prove that you're having an affair. Everyone's going to know about it. You're going to be disciplined. I mean, already the church was putting me under discipline for filing that divorce. They had put me there. And I mean, that's what I never understand. And the counseling, when they try to send me for counseling, it irritates me, because they start like from Adam and Eve. And I was like, really? Did Adam and Eve have the problems that I have? but that was the one brother. And then the other brother, because I had 2 brothers and 3 sisters. And so then the other brother is the one who put me in the mental hospital. But so my family, the way, and I think it hurt me, because I always thought, here are these people who I thought would help me, but they didn't. But then I actually could see it even in childhood, because they brought me down from like the way I was, and like I can't do anything, and like I'm stupid and I'm a child, and and I can see even that pattern. So in a way, I was so grateful that the friends who came into my life at the right time. If you think, when Scout, my oldest one, when she was born, this lady started working for me. And it's funny, because I didn't even want this lady to work for me. I wanted her sister. And we laugh about it so much. But I know it was meant to be the one who did. Because she was there for me, right near, beside me in everything. Anyway, and actually, I ended up creating a dried fruit business because another thing he did was, now he always bought me whatever I wanted to make up for no love. And he bought me a dehydrator, and I was drying my own fruit for the family. And I was quite natural. And then people loved it. And then I started this dried fruit business. So then my friend went from my domestic worker to my worker in my dried fruit business. And that's, and now I say to her, she's actually going to be my secretary. I'm already telling you, I'm working her out to be my secretary.
She has gone through all the levels,
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the one. And then my second friend, not the one who's my mother, the second one, she was my son's nursery school teacher. And she always, it's as though she knew when I'd come in and I was crying and I was dropping off at school. And she just knew exactly. And I started speaking to her, and it's like those three. And then the lady who's like my mom. I don't need anyone else. I have them.
I love it. So you still have your family. It's just a different family than what you started with.
Exactly. And you know what? And that's why when people say, when I read that quote, family don't have to be blood. Yes. And it's so ironic because my mom always said the opposite. She would say, nothing replaces family. Family are blood. They're the ones who stick together. And that's what she said. And now they're not family. Mm-hmm. The ones who aren't blood are my family.
And that's what she wanted, though. She wanted you and your siblings to believe that you couldn't seek love or support from outside the family.
Yeah, very true. Sadly.
Joy, you talked a lot about meditation. You are opening up your chakras. I just love saying chakra. Tell me, what wellness advice would you give to the audience?
So, especially in that journey to look inwards. And I realized, my head was so jumbled. I don't even know what I thought. I had so much rubbish in there that I didn't, and I think that's also why I didn't listen to myself. So, and that's even why meditation, I meditate every day now. It's just, I just need that time to look inward, to be quiet, and then I would suggest to do the same. And, and I know mine has been a journey and it's so funny because even in that beginning, when I had my first coach, 2020, he said I must listen to Joe Dispenza. And I listened to him and I said, oh my goodness, this guy's crazy. I'm like, I can't do this meditation. But I realized I wasn't ready for him because now I love him. And it just had to be at the right time. So like this, everyone has a journey, even in meditation, even in self-development. But they need to start with themselves and set that time and make a point, because it is, you have to, and it's a form of self-care. And looking after yourself internally and building yourself up so that you can shine in the world.
Nice. Talk to me about relationship advice. What relationship advice would you give out?
Wow. I always have relationship advice about children. They never compare. And never compare children, and they're each so different and each one has to, deal with whatever they're going through. And that's what I see with my 4, they're so different. I mean, they are. And every person is different. But I know some people want to, want their children all to be in a certain way, and also they need to think for themselves. You can't think for them. And I know even though they also did learn my lessons, they'll also have to learn their own lessons. And, don't have control over them, that you won't let them make their own mistakes to learn from their mistakes. And I know mine are still quite young, but I can look back as the way I was raised and the protectiveness. And now I have an openness. Also, be open, talk to your children. They must know, mine can see my journey. They can see and I think I always showed them love, and they did, in a way, they did help me open up in communication because I had to talk to them. But now, and just be open, have that open relationship with them. And I know it may not be easy, but sometimes you just have to make a point of, speaking to them and heart to heart. And that's another thing, my heart. I've actually learned to, I think even doing the chakras, I've realized how important it is to listen to your heart and speak from the heart and not from your head. And we have it all here.
It's all right here.
Yeah.
Joy, I know that you do not have tattoos. However, I told you earlier that I love tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos. You can't see them right now. But even though you don't have any tattoos, you talked about why people get tattoos and what you would get. So tell the audience a little bit about that very quickly.
So if I had to get a tattoo, I'm trying to think. There was another word I would actually get, and I can't remember it, but I'll have to. It's in my journals because I said if I got a tattoo, I'd have this word, and I can't remember. But I know my way it is. But the other thing is, and I don't know if it was persistence or it's also that word is to do with looking inward. So that word that I wanted, I don't know where it is. When after the call, I'll remember
the mystery word.
The second one, oh yes. I would have a butterfly because, you know what it has to go through. It's that process of it and then it comes out as this beautiful, like, I can't even say beautiful. It's because it's so unique and so, yeah, it is, I'll say beautiful in its own way. From all that and the process, because that is what I've had to learn is the process. Through that process, it's made me into the person I am today.
And you are the beautiful butterfly.
Aww.
If people want to find you, where can they do that? Where can they find you on social media? If they want to talk to you about coaching, your book, where can people find you?
So I am on Facebook, Joy Johnston. I'm on Instagram. I actually, my name, there's Michelle Joy, but they can look under Joy. I'm sure they'll find it, but I'm going to change it over because that's why I'm saying my name. My name is the story, and I am Joy now, you know. So they can find me on Instagram if they look for Michelle Joy. And then I think LinkedIn, I'm Joy Johnston. So they can find me there. And you know what? If you feel in your heart, anyone who's listening, if you feel in your heart, to contact me, please do, because I just want to be there for people who have gone through it, who need. And this is what I realized as well, because I had people on my journey. Each person showed me something else I had to work on in a different area. And if I did it by myself, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have had those eyes to see. And so that's why, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you and to become that person that you may not even know, or that you have this desire that you want to be. I'm here to help you and to heal. And that is my desire. I want you to heal, to live your life to the fullest with nothing holding you back.
Right. Nothing holding you back. Joy is here to help other people become their own beautiful butterfly. Joy, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and with the audience today. I am so grateful to you. You have put a smile on my face today. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate you.
Oh, Claudia, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I could have this opportunity too. And I know it will go to the right people that need to hear it.
Absolutely. I really hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with Joy as much as I did. I really appreciated how she opened up and shared with us all the struggles that she went through and how she has now become the beautiful butterfly. So remember, until next week, you are strong enough and you are worth it. Thank you for listening to the Strong Enough podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform by searching Strong Enough. And on YouTube, we're available on the Spear Talk channel. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Strong Enough Pod. If you have suggestions for an upcoming episode or a future guest, please reach out at strongenoughpod@gmail.com. Remember, you are worth it.